All right, we are officially recording, my friends. I don't know who can see. Let me grab this. I think you're right. Yeah, that's great. Mr. Greenlaw, yes, you would like to go, and do you want to call this meeting to order?
I would like to call this meeting to order in the absence of the president.
You are the intern. Mr. Greenlaw, would you have any problems with me running through the agenda, or would you like to do it yourself?
Amanda, I would be thrilled. Had we got through.
Okay. Thought that might be the case, but I wasn't sure. All right, so present here we have Jason, Angie, Michaela, Remington. Online we have Jonah, Mark, Brandon, Victoria. Anybody else join on there? Ben's on there. Hi, Ben. Ben. All right, so just a quick update from Jason and the advisory council. Penobscot Cleaning has been at the facility with lots of big fans. They did have a purchase and sales draft last week, but there was no quantification of expenses. They are just expecting to recoup their expenses from July to present. So that will still be up in the air. I think even when we close, they don't think that's going to be done, and they don't think the building's going to be done because we won't have our 501c3. Hopefully right now, the last draft that they saw had a closing date of 1/31. So still closing the end of January, and we should get the keys at closing. So I don't know where everybody else stands, but I'll just go in that day. And if people want to come in and work out, come in and clean, come in and help, just with the understanding that we don't have toilet paper. I feel like that's fair, but
Bring your own.
yeah, just BYOT. Let's see. So if we're not the 501c3 at closing, we can't take control of the endowment, and there's still those things. But I'm just really trusting that Jason and Mike and the advisory board and Claire are doing the best they can to get us what they can. Unfortunately, I feel like we're just in a position where they have what we want and they know that, and so they're like, yeah, no, you can pay our insurance deductible for that. And what I mean, like, no, it's not right, but it is what it is. And
So that's what they're saying. We could pay the deductible.
no, I don't know that. I don't know what the expenses look like. I don't.
They just said to be determined.
Yeah. And that amount does have to get settled before they can finalize closing out the endowment and the facility, but I don't know what it looks like. So I'm just going to keep doing this side of it and hope that the really smart attorney people are doing a really good job for us. Mike Sutton did meet with the board of Old Town yesterday, and they have expressed that they are very ready to close, and there's like no indication that they're going to try and like do anything that would derail the situation. Like I said, there are still questions about the unquantified amount of expenses.
And I'm sorry, you said from July on?
From July to date, yeah. And I don't know why that was there. I don't know.
But they did not include like because previously wasn't it like all the money they've lost for like the last couple of years?
Yeah, and so now it was just the expenses. So I think they're going to try and get what they can from the unrestricted portion of the endowment, I think is what the realistic.
Yeah.
But that's just me speculating. So maybe not. Maybe they'll take $10 and we can move on. But
Yeah, they certainly sell.
so that would be cool. Right now in the draft of the contract, the minimum allowed percentage rate to pay by the federal government is 4.3%. So that's what we would have to pay them on an estimate of $500,000 value for the building until the 501c3 is done and they can gift us the building. He said that looks like about $1,500 a month until.
So far away from that.
Don't know. It can take anywhere from 2 weeks to 6 months. We've been 2 months now. We have reached out to Senator Collins' office and we were missing a document. And so I know that was filed. And then Jason copied me on another email to her, whatever he is that like does all of her stuff. So we have reached out again. Been like, hey, we've got that document. Like that's all submitted. Like if you can help us push this. So I'll reach out to Chad Perkins again tomorrow and just see what he can do to help us because he's there.
I have been told on the 501c3, it's a very long hold time. But if you can call and wait it out to actually get somebody on the phone, it can be helpful to see where things are at in the process. But it takes a while to actually get a live person.
Well, I would sit on the phone on hold as long as whoever was like on my call forwarding would talk to them because I don't even know what to say. Like, can I have that, please? Thank you. I don't. But I'm happy to. One thing that we do have to do, so it's in the bylaws and we hadn't broken it down. I know not everybody's here, but I'll take everybody's opinion that is here. So per the bylaws, for the initial setup of the board of directors, 1/3 shall be elected for a term of 1 year, 1/3 elected for a term of 2 years, and 1/3 elected for a term of 3 years. All other elections of board members will be for 3-year terms, and people can serve consecutive terms unless they choose out or someone else chooses them out. So I wanted to check with everybody that's here and see if there's anybody that voluntarily was like, I just want to be here at the beginning, like I want a 1-year term or a 2-year term. And if not, I just wrote everybody's names down and we'll just kind of like draw for each position. Anybody want to be a 1 or 2?
I can do it.
What do you want to be?
1.
Jason's a 1er. Okay. I don't think it matters because you can stay for 100. That's fair. Anybody on our Zoom like to volunteer to be a 1 or a 2-year member, or I'll just draw names.
Oh, I can.
Oh,
Ben's volunteering.
Ben?
Ben is a 1.
Oh, I can't hear you, Ben. Sorry. I think you're muted. I got nothing. You can stick a finger up and show me how many years you want. All right, he's a 1er. Got you. All right, so we have, let's see, so we'll do 6 for each. So I've got this just random, like I wrote everybody's names down. And if I draw Jason or Ben, we'll just put them in the one pile. All right,
Good.
so we'll draw our 3s first. So our 3s, we have Kathy Reardon, Brandon Young, Jonah Orff, Angie Snow, not Jason Greenlaw, Mike Harris, Remington Poulin, and Remington. So our 3-year board members are Kathy, Brandon, Jonah, Angie, Mike, and Remington. Our 2-year board members will be Chris Kluke, Kristen Wagner, Brian Campbell, Mark Poulin, Michaela Richardson, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and Seth Burns. And then that leaves our 1 years at Victoria, Ben, Steph, Kim, and Jason. And like I said, you can serve consecutive terms, and then after that, whenever we do elections, there'll be 3-year terms, but you're supposed to get rid of 1/3 of your board to keep it fresh, if you so choose.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yes. Hi.
I need a new cell phone. Something's wrong with the speaker system on my phone. So I just put in the AirPods, but thanks. I can talk now.
Thank you very much.
Who were the 2 years again?
Yep. So our 2 years, Michaela, Mark, Chris, Kristen Wagner. Sorry.
No, I got it. Go ahead.
Seth and Brian.
You would have to go slower if I was right.
She's good. I piled them up and I was gonna put sticky notes on them, so you're amazing. Did you get them all? Nailed it. Okay, Michaela got that. That's done. Committee updates. Victoria, do you want to do finance committee?
You give me like 2 minutes and I'll be ready. Go to someone else and come back to me.
All right. Brandon, you want to do fundraising?
Yeah, absolutely. So from the last fundraising meeting, we just kind of went over what we needed for the Valentine's Day dance, the Hearts Aglow dance. We made a list of items, and we had some people volunteer to bring certain things. And then for the Waves of Giving, we went through the list of people we were going to ask for donations, and everybody kind of picked their people to reach out to, and we're working our way through that list slowly and surely to get those items for the silent auction. Venues were secured for both of those two respectively, with 48 Morton Ave for the Valentine's Day dance, the Hearts Aglow, and then obviously the Commons for the Waves of Giving. Also, we kind of touched on what's it called? Super Bowl subs. Threw around a couple of new ideas there. But yeah, we're just kind of chipping away at the ones that are coming up. And yeah, that's kind of all I have on what we had discussed.
I think the only thing that we need right now is just help with the Waves of Giving, like the little donors, because there's a list of about 800 people that I got from Deb that were prior people that had donated, like everywhere from like charter air services to like people with Airbnbs that So all kinds of stuff. We can share those lists. I just figured at the next meeting, whatever we haven't finished yet on the fundraising committee, I'm gonna throw it to you guys, and I'm gonna make you stay here until somebody picks each one. So that'll teach you. But I think everything's going well. And then the next big one after we get through the waves of giving, which will be March, we'll start our banner program in April. If anybody's got any connections, awesome. If not, I have found half-price banners online. Makes me a little bit skeptical. But Dexter Print Shop actually prints banners like half the price of anyone that I found. I've called Millworks. I called the guy in Herman who did these signs. I've called this guy up here, Eddie Signs, or I think that's what it's called. I called Dover Print Shop. They don't do banners. And then Smokey said if we get a great big giant one, he's absolutely happy to hang it up for us.
Wow.
So I think Dexter Print Shop will
There's
be.
also somebody in Charleston. It's Pixels to Print. I don't know if she does banners, but it might be worth checking with her. I've got
Yep.
a couple things from her, and they were pretty cheap.
Where is it, in Carmel?
Charleston.
Charleston, sorry. Okay, I'll look that up too, because I've been compiling a list and like asking people for the same price on items so I can compare like banner pricing and then poster pricing and stuff. Oh, while we're talking about that, the printer contract we have not started yet, but they did say that they would bring the printer to a second location, and then when we're back in our building, we could set it up. I would like permission to get that rolling. I just bought like $200 worth of toner for this printer, and I'm still not done printing the stuff I need to print. And we're going to try and start basketball the first weekend in February because that's at Morton. It's not at our facility anyway, and Jacob Stevens has offered to do it. So I got to print about 2,000 flyers to get out to the school. So if everybody's okay with that, so if we need motions and seconds, if that's okay, and if not.
Yeah, I motion we allow for the printer to be placed here and then moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
Yep.
Printers a go. Thank you, guys. And it's good to go. I'm gonna write that. All right, Ben, have you had a chance to look over any of the policies? I've been trying to simplify them as much as possible. Did we lose him?
Quite frankly, no, sorry. I honestly, I haven't, Amanda, and I was talking to Michaela about that today. I brought him up to the house and have just been inundated, but I will make it a point to put aside some time to look at those and then maybe chat with you or Michaela and I can talk about any input we might have and then just make sure we've got those notes in place for our next meeting, if that's all right.
Yeah, no, I've been really trying to work to drastically reduce the quantity and like the overlap. So I copy and pasted them all into ChatGPT and asked them to look for redundancies and then kind of deleted all the redundancies out. And then I also asked them to look for anything that was missing. And so I added in a few like random ones, but it went from like 100 pages down to probably 50. So I think it's going to be a little more manageable, but yeah, if you would do that, that would be fantastic.
Sure.
I just want to not missing anything. And
Do you want to share
Definitely.
the most version with us and then?
yeah, so it's in that policies document. Like
Okay.
I've been editing them all right in there. And I separated them all out so they're easy to kind of work through.
Yeah, we'll check them out and definitely get whatever other notes or resources involved that we may be able to come up with.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
And then I'll just go over some of the other committees. A committee started meeting last week. It's been very, very light at a lot of the committees. Adult wellness, it was me and Michaela. Megan forgot to come, but we honestly came up with a list of some really, really awesome ideas and some good contacts to reach out to for people to bring programs in. I think the biggest thing right now is anyone that knows anyone that's interested in teaching a Zumba class or aquatics class or a powerlifting class, just bring them. Like, let's do it. Like, there's no reason to know people right now. Like, if anybody's interested, like if you want to teach something to the kid, like whatever, like I think there's something to offer for everybody and we should do that. Grounds and facilities, only Sean Hadley came. He had a lot of really good ideas. Leah was there for the first meeting that we had with that. He's going to start talking with Chad Perkins and the Congression a little bit about getting some congressional funding, which usually takes like 12 to 24 months. The biggest thing with that, he said, is getting grants to do feasibility studies, because the feasibility studies that you need can cost upwards of like $100,000 to $200,000, but there are grants to do that. So once we get our 501c3, we have a brilliant grant writing team, which we can't even believe we have. So we'll make sure that they kind of get on that, and because I mean that's millions. Like we could knock the building down and build a new building with
Yeah.
congressional money,
Yeah.
like realistically.
Yep.
And so just knowing what direction we're heading in, and I think that'll be an important conversation for us to have in a couple months once we're in the facility as a board. What do we do? Because I talked to the finance committee last week. We have our sand filter in the pool, which the sand hasn't been changed in at least 10 years from the best I can figure. It's supposed to be changed every 5. So I have a quote from Marita's. It's $5,000 just for the pool stuff we need, and it's an additional $7,000 to $10,000 just for the sand. And that really should happen every 5 years. So that's $2,000 a year to be budgeted. But that also is at the end of its life. So as a board, like we're going to have to start making decisions like, okay, so do we not spend the money right now? Know that we can get through some time with what we have, because I know for a fact I can keep our pool clean with what's in there. Like I've done it, I can do it. But the future of it, like when it goes bad, like we're going to have that money to spend immediately, or we're going to have to be prepared to put in a new sand filter or a new UV filter or a new saltwater filter. That's because I think the future planning for that kind of those big things, like if you walk in that back room, like look at the heat exchangers, and like I don't know how they work. I mean, some of them are in rough shape. So that's something I think we should maybe, once we get mechanical services in there to go through, and we'll get Tracy Redmond in there to go through and kind of give us a list of the immediate needs and the like, you probably should get on this in a couple of years needs. And I think the board, if you guys can come up with a list of what you want and what you want to see, because we're building this, like it can be whatever. That's where our ground and some facilities, but Sean is super excited. He's like, I'm not really part of it. And I'm like, yeah, you are. I'm like, you're on the grounds and facilities committee. I'm like, when you go places, like say you are on, like, go for it. So I'm all about community involvement. As long as we're not duplicating efforts, let's do it. Youth programming. Nobody came to that meeting, but that's okay. I talked to Jacob Stevens pretty extensively the other day. Jacob's going to come back on. He's going to work from 7:30, so around 7:15 to 3:15, Monday through Thursday. So that's going to cover all of our lifeguarding, all of our daytime programming. He's going to do janitorial in between. So I think he's going to do great there. And then I don't know if that's somebody in or out or a hand. Sometimes it's Brandon. Oh, Victoria. Okay. And then community engagement. I think we're going to just kind of end up, unless we have this huge like flux when we get back to the building and everybody wants to come and hang out with us again. We'll pair community engagement into fundraising. They kind of go hand in hand. It's just community engagement doesn't really make any money, but it's all part of it. Victoria, you want to go?
Sure. So after we got the regular update from Amanda, we talked about a bunch of systems research that Amanda was doing, HVAC, pool stuff, repairs, chemicals, all that. We were talking about exactly what you were just saying, that we've got to figure out sort of the order of operations, the investment, of investments, and where we can save now and spend more wisely later. Contracts for stuff like WB Mason, and possible savings partnership with Sean from Bangor Y when there's opportunities to buy, like if they bought a pallet of 30 of something and we can buy 10 off of them because they only need 20. It helps everybody a little bit. We also talked about some of the finance policies and got really, we kind of got into the weeds in a good way with stuff like approval for checks and signatories and what needs to be approved and by whom. I think we came up with a pretty good plan for that. And we also did some committee housekeeping, figuring out roles and responsibilities between the treasurer, myself, the rest of the committee, the staff finance department. So we're, checks and balances, but not stepping on toes or duplicating things when not necessary. We talked about our year when we'll probably end up doing 990 prep, budget planning, end of year number crunching, that sort of stuff. So our next meeting, we're going to review, we're going to start trying to review the month snapshot, year-to-date snapshot, going over QuickBooks and that sort of stuff.
I've been working through those policies that we built too in the restaurant that I'm building, and I've created a couple spreadsheets, and I think it's shared, but I'm not sure. So there's like daily checklists, weekly checklists, monthly checklists, annual checklists, biannual checklists, and it includes everything from like Angie signing off on the bank statements to somebody reconciling the checkbook to cleaning the pool pump. Like, so I've tried to put every single thing that's got like a scheduled something in there. And so that way we can just make sure we're checking those boxes because they weren't getting done before. And that's why we're in the position that we're in. Lots of stuff was getting missed. So I think that'll help with the accounting procedures there too,
Yes.
Victoria.
Yes.
All right.
And well, that's something that when we come up with stuff like grant reporting and, that's going to be important to be able to throw stuff that we have to do just for grants into that sort of big workflow. So I think that's great.
Okay. I'm gonna put that on there too. And then, so we don't have Mike here, so I don't know how everybody feels about if everybody's had a chance to look over the budget, financial policies, accounting policies. Does anybody feel like they need more time with that, or is that something we want to approve tonight?
I feel much more comfortable approving tonight than I did last time.
Anybody online opposed to making some motions on budgets and finance policies and accounting policies? All right, you want to run the, let's do the budget first.
I make a motion that we accept the budget.
Second, Mark.
All in favor?
Aye.
I can't see.
Yes.
Yes, yes. Yes,
No dissenters.
budget good to go.
Budget passes.
Financial policies and procedures.
I make a motion that we pass the financial policies and procedures.
Second.
Seconded.
Motion's been seconded. All in favor?
Yes.
Good to go.
Good to go.
Motion passes.
Accounting policies and procedures.
I make a motion that we accept the accounting policy and procedures.
I'll second.
Motion's been seconded. All in favor?
I think Ben likes it.
Then you only get one vote.
I don't even know what I'm doing here to vote, but I'm glad it's coming through. I've just been voting with everyone else.
Good to go?
Yep.
Okay. Then I just have some quick updates on a few things. The pool license, I have sent in the application. I was able to send in a change of ownership application, so it will be up to the state whether or not we have a full inspection. If we have a full inspection, we are going to be spending several $1,000s that we did not anticipate spending because we have a lot of things in our pump room that have been grandfathered in over the years. With a new pool license, things don't get grandfathered. So that's up to the state. I talked to them pretty extensively about it, and I'm like, well, I've done the best I can, and like it runs, it's so clean.
Who's the state?
So the state, just the licensing, like state of Maine. So for licensing, I did send in the application on the 3rd. It's free for nonprofits, so I just said that we were, and we didn't get charged that. Piscataquis Chamber of Commerce, we have officially, we're members now, so we're all good up there. That's paid for the year. We need to do a better job than we ever have taking advantage of their free advertising and getting them to promote stuff for us. So far with staffing, I have Michaela, Megan, and Adrian for our adult wellness classes. And then I've got Jacob Stevens, Cadence Sheridan, Liam Reardon, Carolyn Lufkin for our kind of youth programming after school stuff. And then I have Veldra and Donna on our information desk. And then I did just talk to Remington and Jason a little bit, looking for volunteer adults for mornings and evenings in the fitness center. And I'm also going to talk to Community Fitness now that I just talked to Remington. I was told it was an 18 plus for the 24-hour access. So we're staffed from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. So anybody can come in during those hours as long as they are supervised and we're having programming. But after those hours, it's supposed to be only 18 plus. My way around that, I was thinking, if we have Jason and Timberlake and Remington and anybody else that's there very regularly, like even Tony could do a volunteer with a background check, they would constitute like staffing because they are volunteers for the pack. And so kids could come in without, like a 17-year-old, 16-year-old could come in without their legal guardian as long as somebody's there that's considered staff. So we'll continue like playing with that, and it may not be a problem at all. I just want to make sure that it's accessible. We have a lot of 16, 17-year-old kids that come
We
in.
do.
So just want to make sure that we can make it work for them.
Yep.
And if we've got a volunteer at the front desk and somebody just wants to hang out and color, like whatever, we'll make it happen. And then I talked to Jonah pretty extensively the other night. Jonah, do you want to just run down what we chatted about or anything you've learned? Is he still there?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
I've got two different speakers going on, so I'm just making sure I'm going through the right stuff. So we were just discussing some of the basic office needs, stuff like a file share server, which we can just host on her regular computer. That's nothing big there. We were going over the security cameras and the placement of where they would need to go and what's needed with that. So I just had some real rough numbers that I was going over. I haven't finalized that for the amount of cameras we wanted because there were some areas where one camera may actually capture both. I did not get a chance today or yesterday to, I don't remember which day I talked to Amanda because it's just been so busy, but I had been able to contact the phone providers to ask for pricing. That way I can kind of see which one is a best fit for what we have, because 9 phones is quite a few. But like you were saying, there's a couple that only need to be dedicated basically for 911 services. I think you said the pool room, obviously we're going to have the fire alarms, and I think you said the childcare room. But we were just going over those. There's a bunch of vendors out there, and sometimes you can get everything in one system. Sometimes that doesn't make sense. So I'm just trying to fine tune the phone needs for us, really.
And I think the biggest thing with that, like once we can get in there, he can see what we have for
Yeah.
equipment, and he can see if what we have can work. 'Cause it might do something very different than what it has been. But I told Joe, I'm like, I just want to be able to make a call while Veldra's on the phone. Like,
And that was an interesting thing that me and Amanda were talking about. If they leave the phone system, she said before, basically word of mouth, somebody would say, oh yeah, if you do this, this, and this is how you transfer a call. There's every potential that if they left the phone system, it might be as simple as me clearing it out and starting over, and it may actually be sufficient to everything we need.
but then again, we won't have toilet paper or a phone when we get in there.
Well, like you said, that's inside once you get in and you get.
Yeah, and I think we can make it happen pretty quick once we get in there. And then the security systems, once he can get in the building and look, because I think I gave him a list of like 15 or 19 cameras.
Yeah.
But if we're going to be open 24 hours, like we really need the ability to have them like on the outside of the locker room, so Remington can walk out and be like, that is trashed and I did not do it. Because then he's in trouble if he's the last one out and I go, so we just need to make sure we've got them outside the building, inside the building, especially with the pool, making sure that's locked, making sure everybody's messing with the doors. And because we have the ability to shut off 24-hour access immediately with our new website. So if somebody is being a little nefarious and letting people in or doing stuff they're not supposed to, it'll just be a quick no second chances on that one.
Has Guilford ever run into any?
I don't think so. Like I've asked her, she has a lot of an older population. I think with Foxcroft right here, it puts us in a little different.
I know being over there quite a bit, I've noticed some people forget their cards and stuff, and if they knock on the window and somebody goes over and lets them in and stuff like that once in a while. But
ours, you should be able to get in with your phone.
right. Yeah.
So the app and the website officially went live today. So if you go in the app store and you search for PACC, like they're there. There's not a whole lot there, but you can start signing up for memberships, and that part is there. So feel free to check that out. As you go through it, if something feels clunky or cumbersome, like let me know, because we built it, and we can be like that's too many steps, and that's okay, because I don't know what it looks like on the backside. I just know what it looks like on this side. So feel free to, and it's on Android and Apple, so Andrew can have it too. So that's all there. That happened today. WV Mason, Cintas, and UniFirst. I officially have quotes from all of them. I just haven't had a chance to take the time to figure it out. WV Mason, I think, is probably going to be the way to go, just because it's free dispensers and we get to pick when they come. But I'll keep you posted on that for the next meeting. I'll definitely have that then. I've been working a lot with health insurance memberships. As you're talking to people, just have people call the number on the back of their insurance cards and find out what they have for fitness center benefits. Because like the state of Maine has a full reimbursement, but you have to be a verified facility. So I've had to go through the state, fill out their application to become a verified facility. And as soon as I am, anybody that works for the state can have a free membership.
Yep.
We have signed up for Active Renew, which is United Healthcare. It's all the Medicare, Medicaid things. Silver Sneakers, Prime, Tivity, Smart and Fit. So there's tons of them. So as people have been calling me, I'm like, yeah, call the number on your card and find out if like, and some like Martin's Point, they don't really care. They have a card. I have sent in to be an approved vendor to accept their card. Still waiting on that. But right now, like if somebody with Martin's Point comes in, there's just a form we fill out, give them the receipt, and they can get reimbursed. But once they can use their card, it'll be that much easier. And I'm working with Brittany too, because she doesn't have the card swipey yet either. So we're figuring that out together. We're getting a vending machine, 2 vending machines. They are going to cost us $0, and we will make 10% every quarter on whatever we sell. So my thoughts with those is to put them in the door for the first fitness center, because we don't need 2 access doors to that. It'll be right next to the front door that way. There's garbage and recycling right there next to it. I just think that'll be a good place. And then with the 24-hour access, having 1 access point to the fitness center, I think kind of makes sense anyway.
Will those vending machines happen to be where cameras will be seen that we've already pre-planned?
Yep, right there. So right as you come into the vestibule.
Okay, just want to make sure.
Yep. And then I went with Airgas. They were half the price of Main Oxy for our O2 at the pool. It's not a huge expense. I think it's like $400 initially, and then like $60 every 4 months. So it's not a ton, but I did pick a vendor there. I already talked about that. The childcare lease, Penquist never got back to me, but I am meeting with the EAAA tomorrow, so the Eastern Area on Aging, right? Eastern Area
Agency on Aging.
Thank you. There's so many words. They sent out a blanket email to a bunch of people a couple days ago, and they have like a food hut thing up in Milo where they have like some freezers and like people can come in there. They're looking for a space to rent, but they can't afford to rent like a whole office. Our childcare space might be something that we can partner up with them. We've previously had the EAAA in there doing meetings. They do like grievance meetings, so like anybody that's lost a loved one can come in, and they have like support groups, and then they have like some food stuff that they do for the elderly. And so I think it could be a really cool community partnership. I talked with Partners for Peace too, and they don't really need a space, but they want to make sure that we have like domestic violence coins in our locker rooms, and like free tampons, and just free deodorants in the building, and so stuff like that. So partnering up with these community places to be a really cool hub, I think, is awesome. And I talked with Michaela also about the childcare room, and we came up with about 1 million possibilities that we could do with it. And
That means you might have to give up your juice bar.
oh, I don't know, cut the door in half to the fitness center and you have a smoothie bar. I think it's brilliant.
More of a swim up bar.
So we talked about 1,000 things, and Jacob and the girls are really solving the problem of the after school care, which is all we had before. So every day from 3 to 4, there'll be a club. Every day from 4 to 5, there'll be a club. And every day from 5 to 6, there'll be a club. And then anyone that's working out can use that time. And that's our child watch. So you pay your $5, you send your kids to child watch. And then in the summers, Leah Rideout has been talking with the teachers at the school about getting some teachers that want to come over and either work a full day, or 2 of them that want to work half days. And so we run a summer camp with air quotes all day long. So that still is covering our childcare need, and it's actually covering it better than we were doing it with childcare. So I think we've got some cool stuff, and then that space becomes available and free to do I don't know what with. So if anybody's got ideas, it's kind of the coolest part about this. And we've got the cave, we've got the viewing room, we've got the classroom, the studio, the racquetball court. Like those are all really poorly utilized spaces. So bring it on, whatever you guys.
Megan and I were talking last night about designing a spin studio, and she wants black walls and black lights. So
There you
might have
go.
to incorporate that.
I think there's still a.
Awesome.
I was just talking to a guy the other day about not necessarily like a jujitsu thing, but I know they tried to do it at the field house and it didn't go. But everybody talks about it. I think if you could get something going, and it's definitely not me, but
I've talked with Zoof. I don't know if you know Zoof and Lisa Downs from Dexter. They used to have a Les Mills facility down in Fairfield. And he teaches like self-defense, like gun safety, jujitsu. She teaches yoga. They do it all out of their house now. Like they bought a house on Church Street for it. Right. So I brought it up to them and I'm like, hey, like, come and do this, because they're phenomenal people and it's really cool. But yeah, I think that's
So the guy I was talking to said there was somebody in Quebec that teaches something,
okay.
and he didn't say jujitsu.
There's something like that.
Yeah,
Okay.
and he was talking about him doing some sort of class. So
I'll Google Quebec martial arts. I'll nail it. And Michaela gave me some contacts for yoga people too. One of my long-term goals is to double deck the racquetball court. It's useless space, and then we can have 2 layers. The downstairs to be your spin studio and your yoga studio, and then upstairs is where you put the kids for Dungeons and Dragons Club. Like,
it's a great idea.
yeah, it's so you have 2 layers in there, but we can do whatever we want. Like that's the best part. And so as soon as we can like start thinking out of the box, not like, hey, this is the thing. Like
Right.
it's not. It's like it's an empty building, and we can do.
They've cut down on the echo in there too.
Mm,
It's terrible.
it's awful. And we proved that last time. So the heat and stuff will be taken care of as soon as mechanical services can get in there. And I did sign that contract, but I told Mike that I would only sign it if he would give me a free, like full go through of the building and teach me how like the HVAC system works and teach me how all the heaters work and teach me how all the thermostats work. So he was like, absolutely. He's like, we'll spend a couple hours. And so I got the pool down, but the rest of it, I'm at a loss. So I think that'll be huge. Right now I am scheduled to go to the Hudson Town meeting on February 3rd, the Penobscot Chamber of Commerce meeting on February 4th, and the Abbott Town meeting on March 17th with I've officially mailed in warrants to all of them requesting funds. The town of Ripley, we also had to send in an official warrant, but they only have a meeting once a year, and I don't know if they tell people. I was like, I'm from Ripley, you should give me money. So, so I'm hoping, but those are happening. That's all I have. If anyone has anything else for open discussion.
What was the name that we were supposed to look up on app stores?
It's just
Just a
PACC.
I tried.
Okay, it's not up on Google yet. I
Okay.
don't know if that was where it.
I just scroll down a little bit.
Sorry. Sorry. You could probably look up Piscataquis Area Community Center because I think it's under that as well. It's definitely up on the Apple Store. Just saying.
Listen. I will die on the Android now.
You were going.
I was there once. I really was. And I admire that you're
There.
the whole piece about you not being able to go in the building.
That's still a thing.
Okay. And we had talked about maybe Jason coming.
Yeah, he was gonna come tonight, and then I don't know what happened, but he called me at like 3, and he's like, "I am not gonna make it." He said we could call if we needed.
Okay.
I know he'll definitely come.
So if the closing is the 31st and we're gonna get keys, I guess that moves it to sort of a non-issue. But it does irritate me a little bit.
Agreed.
Is it still a non-issue though if we wanted to know what's there before the closing actually goes through?
You gotta do a final walkthrough, right? Somebody's gotta.
Mike and Claire.
I agree with you. I think it's ridiculous.
Right, but they won't.
But I think they
I'm a
also know that, like, if you guys send me for the final walkthrough, what are we gonna do? Be like, "Ooh, we better tie this up for another 30 days while we try and find the pool vacuum." Like,
Yeah, we're not, but it gets us a little bit ahead of, like you said, the just the little things like the cameras. What did they leave? What
Right.
do we need to budget for toilet paper for day one? You know, that's
right, is the case still there, or did they take it? Like, I
Right.
don't know.
So I mean, I would advocate for you to be there tomorrow, but like I said, if it's closing on the 31st, I guess.
Nope, I hear you. Yeah. So far, it's just been Jason and I are not allowed communication, or I don't know.
And so we know that they've cut the sheetrock
Yes.
2 feet, 4 feet, or
Yeah,
whatever.
it was pretty tall. Travis took a picture in the back door because he's not banned from the property. So he took a picture down the hallway, and it's all cut up probably like a good 4 feet. It's all metal studs in the walls, which is that's plus.
Yep.
I doubt they did the machine room because that was already like around the floors. That had flooded so many times that sheetrock is trash anyway. I don't know if they did anything in the community room. You could see the water had run in there. I assume so. It was Penobscot Cleaners, and it looks like they've done what they were supposed to do for water mitigation.
And we don't know who's paying for this yet.
I assume insurance, and if they would ask for anything, the only thing they'd be able to ask for would be the deductible.
Okay.
Did Old Town ever respond at all about the situation?
Probably to the attorneys, but we wouldn't have known if the water district hadn't called us. Like, I believe that with everything. Like, the water district called. That's the only reason
Yeah.
we had a clue. And then the next day, everybody was calling me because there are people up there. I get lost. Yes.
Amanda, I did talk to Andrew on a different matter, but he said that a lot of the water ran into the pool.
Okay.
So
That's great. Keep it.
yeah,
That back out though.
he was saying that a lot of the water ran into the pool. So he thought that might have saved some of the damages. So
Okay. Well, that'd be a win if that is actually the case, because it was running out the back door. So if it was running into the pool too, it was cleaning the floor, cleaning the deck.
right.
Okay. Well, hopefully, we'll have to drain it again, but that's pretty quick and easy. We just have to make sure we call the water district before we do. Well, it's not chlorinated, so I don't know if they'll care, but common courtesy, I guess.
Sure.
Anything
One
else?
other thing,
Oh, yep.
man, I was just gonna say. So Andrew, we were just kind of again talking about something else, and I actually just brought it up because I was curious what they were doing at that point. We didn't know that Penobscot Cleaners were coming in. He wondered if when the pool was in operation, if that was probably enough heat, and humidity maybe coming from that pool area to have, there might be a weak spot there where that pipe froze, you know what I mean? And then with the pool working in operation, that there was enough heat coming out of that area maybe to not freeze that pipe. But then obviously when the pool's closed, so.
So Robinson said that a piece of insulation had fallen down up in that ceiling.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so I don't know if it'd be worth it to have like a building inspector come in and we pay him $1,000 and go through the building and,
Was it a frozen pipe?
oh yeah,
I thought it was a hot water pipe.
it was, yeah, I don't know. It was 2 splits right in the hot water pipes, but they said it was frozen pipes. So I don't know if I don't know.
So the hot water froze.
My math doesn't make sense either, but I don't know.
No, it's not.
But would we be outside of, I'm sure there was something in the contract that said we can only do a building inspection within a certain period of time, or we
Yes.
outside of that window?
Yep. So that due diligence window was when Mike and Claire went the first
Yeah.
time. Like that was, and when they went in and they went through, they decided that it was what it was, and
Yeah.
they weren't gonna.
So really the building inspection at this point would just be for our benefit
Yep.
to know what needs.
Yep. And then that's kind of my intentions with
Yeah.
between mechanical services and Tracy. But if we hire a professional inspector to come in, like they're designed to look and be like, that's asbestos, that's not insulation. And they've got the little heat guns, and then he can snake the drains and it's like I have, when I was doing real estate, Tim Madden did probably 95% of my inspections, and for $1,000, like
Right.
he'll go through it.
It might be worthwhile too, because then at that point, we've got the list of like, when they're coming back to say what they want us to pay them, well,
This is what you left us.
yeah, this is what you left us with, and some of it was probably from the water damage.
Oh, absolutely. And there's lots of stuff just from neglect, like
Right,
just
right.
years and years and years. But I think we can cut back the power bill. Kevin Armstrong's coming in. He's ready to roll. Like as soon as we can get in there with an SBI grant to do all the lights LED. That's going to be phenomenal for the power bill because it's all still incandescent in that whole basketball courts, locker rooms. And then I've also asked him to price us out sensors for fitness center, locker rooms, gymnasiums, like we have in the studio now. So they're off. People aren't in the spaces. Like after a minute of no movement, so sorry for peeing, but
No reading the newspaper.
yeah, no, make it quick.
It's fine, you can't do number 2.
Yeah, that's right. Or thrash while you do it, I guess. I don't know. But I think those things will help. And we talked about doing a slow start on the pump. I don't know anything about that. Jason said they're pretty expensive, but he has one. And Kevin said that when he gets in there, he'll look at it. The power company was explaining to me that if we can space out our like turning on of the building into 15-minute increments, like so much power every 15 minutes, like you don't end up with that like surge rate. I know nothing about electricity, But I'm like, but like the pump's running all the time. Like it has to, like 24 hours a day. It can't not circulate. And then like, so I don't know. So Kevin's going to look into it. And if it's a slow start, like does like so many amps and then waits 15 minutes and then like does so many more amps so that it doesn't do that surge. Like that's what it's for. So that's, oh, and Jason is, he's checked and he's good to be our guarantor on our security deposit for CMP. So we don't have to spend $10,000 on that.
Excellent.
Yes, there's lots of stuff. Anybody else?
And one thing I thought I heard you say a second ago. So our pumps that run the pool have to be 24/7. There can be no breaks.
Yeah.
Okay, I was just verifying because the power company, there's times of day when you get charged more, and I was just processing that. But thank you.
And that might be when we could use that slow start or whatever. Like, I don't know if you can schedule it. I really don't know what that means.
It's gonna be on time.
I just pass messages.
Anything else? I will motion to adjourn. All in favor to adjourn?
Yo.
Yes.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.